In this episode of Talking About Orks, we're going to begin the coverage of Saga of the Beast. Now, I've already covered Ghazghkull and the Big Mech with Force Field. Also got a video up from Akari, or a video recorded from Akari. I haven't posted that one yet, but that'll be up separately, so I'm not going to go over the data sheets in this video, because I have separate videos for those. But we are going to be going over all the rules and all the goodness and all the promise of the book. And so the question at the end will be, is the promise been fulfilled? So we'll start with the orcs. We'll go straight to the orc section. We'll skip the lore. We'll skip the puppies, because we don't care about those. And here is the intro to the orc section. And I have to say, I love this artwork on here. These pictures here are just great. Great introduction to the orcs. So let's start with the... So here we have just basically an index of what's going on. Let's see. Custom jobs. These are new upgrades available for various orc vehicle units in your army, courtesy of the genius and experimentation of orc mechs. The rules can be used with a Mech Boy workshop or by using the custom job stratagem. So that's very important. You can need it. We'll get to that when we get to the custom jobs. New psychic powers. Let's see. Represent the psychic powers manifested by different orc clans. When generating psychic power for a clan psyker model in your army, you can generate one psychic power from the page instead of generating one from the power of the Law discipline. So unfortunately you can't mix them, so you can't have your clan specific power and the jump on the same psyker warphead, unfortunately. Name generator, stratagems, specialist mobs, new and updated units. So here we have the data sheets. I said we'll go over those on separate videos. So first one is the stratagems. So, custom job. Use a stratagem before the battle. Your army can have one additional custom job. All the custom jobs that you include must be different and be given to different units. So you can have as many of these as you have command points for. They just all have to be different, which really shouldn't be that hard to do, actually. It'd be nice if you could duplicate some, but it's not impossible. The cleverest boss. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select one big mech model in your army. Add one to that model's wounds and attacks, and change its weapon skill to 2+. You can only use a stratagem once per battle, and only if your army does not include Mech Boss Buzzgob. So this would be really cool if you're, I mean, it doesn't have to be the Warlord. It doesn't. There's no restriction on that. So this would be really good if you're taking the mechs in Mega Armor, especially with the Force Field. I think that would be very good for that if you're going to be taking one of those. Grot Bumper. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. When an attack made with a ranged weapon successfully wounds a Boondaka Snazwagon model in your army, the saving throw is automatically passed. Do not roll. Each unit can only benefit from the stratagem once per battle. So does that mean if they would normally get a saving roll, it doesn't? You can't pass it? I'm not sure. That's kind of... It says the saving throw is automatically passed, but what if you don't get a saving throw? Like say you got a Melt-A-Gun against a 4+ armor save. Can you still use a stratagem and ignore that? I don't know. Will have to be fact. Temperamental shock drive. Using a stratagem in your shooting phase after shooting with a shock jump dragster unit from your army, this unit automatically advances and result is a 4+. Do not roll. So this is after you shoot. You can jump it. So you shoot with a shock jump rifle, you shoot with a shock jump dragster, use the stratagem on it, and it automatically jumps. That is really nice. To just kind of get it out of the way, kind of like almost like a shoot jump type thing going on there. It's pretty good. The biggest boss, by far my favorite stratagem in this. Use this stratagem before the battle. Select one war boss model in your army. Add one to that model's wounds and attacks, and it gains a 4+ invulnerable save. You can only use the stratagem once per battle, and only if your army does not include Ghazghkull. This, I think, is going to be the stratagem used more than any other from this book. The single thing used more than anything else in this book is going to be the biggest boss. Because there's no reason not to take it every time you play a war boss. He doesn't have to be the Warlord. And I think for the biker boss, this makes the biker boss with the Killer Claw just absolutely insane. And almost an auto-include. So the biggest boss is by far my favorite stratagem in this book. Clever Spanner, which comes in a close second. This is the way I play. I've covered this before in the release video. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select one Luda's or Burna's Boys unit from your army that contains 9 or less models for 1, or 10 or more models for 2 command points. Whilst that unit contains one or more spanners, you can roll one additional die and discard one when determining the number of shots for burners or def guns equipped to models in that unit. And each unit can be only selected for the stratagem once per battle. I don't know why that is like that, but yeah, I play Ludas, Badman's Ludas, and this I think is an auto take. Right to the point where I've actually converted up spanners. But I'll do that in a hobby video. The Burning Highway. This is interesting. Again, one command point. Use the stratagem for your shooting phase when a custom boosted blaster unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the start of your next turn, change the characteristic of that unit's burning exhaust as follows to range 10 inches, assault 3, strength 5, AP -1. Now, there's one thing very important to note about having that range of 10 is that you can use it when it comes down from reserves. Now you can flame something, and it has 4 burn exhausts. So that is 12 auto hits at strength 5, AP -1 when something comes in from teleporter. That is a pretty good use of a command point as far as I'm concerned, and almost makes it worth to use the custom booster blaster and put it in a teleporter and just come down and burn something like that. That's, I think, a useful stratagem that having that 10 inches really makes all the difference in the world. Let's see what else we have next here. Flying Headbutt. We've done this one over this before, where you can make a flyer auto explode. Again, it's going to be great with a burner bomber that does 3 mortal wounds instead of D3. Full speed lads. This is another one I really like. Use a stratagem in your charge phase after charging with an Ork Biker or Def Killer War Trike unit from your army until the end of turn. Add 1 to that unit's strength characteristic. That I like a lot because I got the War Bikes and got Knob Bikers, which of course we'll go over some more later on both of those units. But having the War Bikers strength 5 and your Knob Bikers strength 6 all of a sudden for just 1 command point, that really makes quite a bit of difference in the wounding rolls. So I think Full Speed Lads is actually a pretty good stratagem, and even the Def Killer War Trike. Which is a strength of 7 with this weapon, could be strength 8, and if you had Fist of Orks now it's strength 10. So yeah, I mean it's definitely a viable stratagem that's going to see some use, and again it's 1 command point, so it's pretty efficient. Squig Bombs. Use this stratagem in your movement phase after moving a Blitzer Bomber model from your army until the end of the phase. Add 1 to rolls made for that model's bomb ability. That is the Blitzer Bomber. So let's take a look at the Blitzer Bomber. Bomb ability. After twice this battle, you can drop a bomb. After the model is moved, select an enemy unit that has moved over. Roll d6 for each model in that unit. Rolling 3 dice instead of the model as a vehicle or monster, up to a maximum of 12 dice. For each roll of 4+, the enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. So now it's doing it on a 3+, up to 12 dice. So that's definitely going to do some damage, and again, it's only 1 command point. I think the Blitzer Bomber is still way overpriced at the 133 points it is, even with the stratagem. But doing, you've got a unit of 10, which is average for most things, or you're going to be doing a lot of mortal wounds. I mean, it could even do all mortal wounds on a 3+. It's definitely not inconceivable. So, I mean, you can definitely wipe out some units with this. For sure. I still don't think it makes the Blitzer Bomber completely viable. Again, I think it's a little too expensive, but it makes it a lot better. Special Shells. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase, and when a flash gets unit from your army is chosen to shoot with until the end of the phase, increase the range of its snaz guns by 12 inches. This is 2 command points. If this was 1 command point, I think it would be way more useful. But at 2 command points, it's very steep for what you get. And you definitely would have to take a full unit of 10 to get any benefit from this. Again, I haven't played Flash Gets, so I don't know if that's really going to be useful. And I guess any people who do play Flash Gets, and I said in my Flash Gets video, there are people who just swear by them. Let me know what you think about the 2 command points for this. I think it should only be 1, or is 2 command points just right for that extra range. So this one is definitely, for me personally, the jury's still out, but I definitely want comments on this one. Patch Up. This is another good one for just 1 command point. Use a stratagem at the start of your turn. Select one Morkanaut, Gorkanaut, or Stompa unit from this army until the end of the turn. That model is considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of determining what row to use on its damage table. So that means if, so 1 to 4 is the bottom row on the Gorkanaut. So you'd have to have at least 3 wounds to get off the bottom row. And you'd have to have, 5 wounds for it to get off the middle row back to the top row. Yeah, so Gorkanaut with 5 wounds left at full effectiveness, yeah, I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that every time. For just 1 command point, that's a real useful use for that. Again, I play Gorkanauts a lot, so I'm a big fan of that one. Unstoppable Momentum. Use a stratagem in your charge phase when the Orc unit from your army has finished a charge move and has dealt 1 or more mortal wounds to an enemy unit. If that Orc unit is no longer within 1 inch of an enemy unit, it can immediately be chosen to charge with again. So it's 2 command points, and oh boy, is this situational. Because there's only a handful of units that can do mortal wounds on the charge, and it's just the Bone Breaker and the the Megatrack Scrapjets. Unless you use ramming speed, then it can be anything, but you have to use ramming speed, which isn't a cheap stratagem in and of itself. And then your opponent has to take models out from right around the model. So, yeah, I don't know how useful it's going to be. It's kind of cool, but it is so situational. It probably will never actually come up. 1 command point, Wildfire. Use a stratagem in your movement phase after selecting an enemy unit for the Burn a Bombs ability of a Burn a Bomber. Unit from your army, select 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of the unit you selected. Roll 1d6 for each model. In that additional unit up to the maximum of 10. On a 5 up, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Not affected by the Arsonist subculture. Yeah, still doesn't fix Burn a Bombers. Being able to hit 2 units for 1 command point is better, but I mean, you're still talking, 122 points? They need a points decrease, not stratagems. It's just okay, I guess. No, it sucks. Burn a Bombers still suck. Unless you want to flying headbutt them. That's the best use for a Burn a Bomber. By far. Dreaded Death Machine. 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when a Death Dread unit, Dreadnought, from your army has chosen to fight with. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model is destroyed as a result of an attack made by that unit, you can immediately make an additional attack. And these attacks do not generate additional attacks. I mean, that sounds really good, but the point is you're not probably going to be using Dreadnoughts against units that they can easily kill. 1 single model. You're going to be wanting to send them up against stuff that's multiple wounds and high toughness, so the strength and damage of those things can get their work in. So, I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not something that I think fits the Dreadnoughts perfectly. You need something more like a stomp attack instead, where you can reduce the strength to just... Yeah, that would be better, where you could reduce the strength to just the strength user and then get like 3 attacks per attack. Kind of like the Morkanaut does and stuff like that. That would probably be better. That would be a better use for that. But additional attacks never hurts, but you're not going to really be able to use that against... I think what Dreadnoughts are really good at is killing characters and killing big things, not killing off infantry with low number of wounds. And the last stratagem is Hit 'em Harder. The stratagem in the fight phase, when a Meganobs unit from your army is chosen to fight with, until the end of that phase, add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapon models in that unit. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons models in that unit are equipped with. I hate these wordings sometimes. So +1 damage. It's okay. Meganobs need +1 to hit, not +1 damage. Because they're only hitting on 4+. So +1 to hit's way better than more damage. So that's the stratagems. We're at 15 minutes already here. So, and I've got a lot to go over on the custom jobs. So I think I'm going to call this good for part 1 here, just the stratagems. And then we go into part 2 where we talk about the custom jobs. Thank you for watching this episode of Talking About Orcs. Please subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications for new Talking About Orcs videos every Wednesday, new battle reports every Friday, and hobby videos whenever I can. Thanks for watching.